Dear poets and listeners, welcome back to Versopolis Traineeship. My name is Jaka Škapin and I am a Slovenian improviser, composer, conductor and producer. Today I have something very special for you, a very relaxed, open immersion into vocal improvisation and how it connects with words, with poetry, with performance. So this video is gonna be different to any of the other ones in the series. It's more of a sound journey, so the visuals are not so important this time around. I invite you to use headphones. You don't have to look at the screen for most of the time, so you can look anywhere, move around the space. A lot of the invitations are also going to be based on the use of your body, so you're free to go away from the screen up until the end of the video. So just to begin, I invite you to close your eyes, to wiggle your spine, wiggle your toes, and just see if you sense any tension in the body. If you do, we're just going to invite that part to soften and see if it needs any movement. And maybe this initial softening also has a sound. You're welcome to use any sound at this stage. These are sounds that really don't relate to words. They don't come from the same area of the brain as words. They come from somewhere else, ideally from the environment or the body. So let's just explore this for a couple of moments. They might be fast, slow, connected with the breath or not. If this is something new for you, just imagine the everyday sounds that you hear or relate to your environment right now, what you can perceive from it, or relate it to a memory or a place where you've been, and just delve into the sounds of that environment. I'll just give you a little bit more time to explore this while I create a little soundscape for you. And slowly bring your exploration to a close. As you have seen from this first exercise, today we're really treating our vocal cords, our voice, our bodies in a different way. You might be new to improvisation or not. It is totally normal that it activates our nervous system, brings up emotions, images, any of it. You're always welcome to return to silence or take a little break and then come back to the video. Next, we're going to continue an exploration into the realm of invented or personal language. I think the easiest way to start is with an exercise that I received from Rhiannon, my teacher from the United States, which is to move through the letters of the alphabet, any alphabet in your language, from letter to letter, and create invented words that start with that letter. And this is just to explore different sounds that we're not used to. So in my case, this might be something like aini, ayo, alo, aili, aini, aye, ane, ali, 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 bra, pi, pira, pi, pina, pi, pire, pire, pro, piri, pci, pcia, pcia, cia, cia, cani, cai, cie, cie, cni, ceo, ceui, ceu, ciu, can, and so on. This takes a little bit of time, so we're just gonna start off here and then you can continue in your own time if you feel drawn to it. So first there are the sounds of it, then they can extend into also sounding, and then you might find yourself also creating some words that exist already in the language, and maybe something comes from them. So it's just a very open exploration. I invite you to start with sound, then maybe catch a word. I will demonstrate in Slovenian, and then maybe that word continues into a little sentence. Just go with it for a moment and then return to the next letter. So this might look something like so. Aine, ayeke, ane, aye, are, ari, aru, aru, ane, 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 anisem, ane, anisem, ane, anisem, ane, anisem, ampak kaj potem sem? Bre, pi, pru, bre, pci, pri, prpte, pi, pru, pi, pti, and so on. So this is just playful. This is just a game. Don't take yourself too seriously as you do it. Now I'll give you a little bit of a moment to do this in your own language, any language, with another very gentle improvised soundtrack. You probably won't get to the end of the alphabet, but you can do it again outside of this video if you like it. can slowly bring your exploration to a close for now. So you might now wonder, how does this relate to your practice? For me, these ways of engaging with the voice just extend our perception of language, of words, and also make a different connection with our body and the environment. So when you have some time, just keep returning to the alphabet, the sounds first, and then the sounds leading into the words. Next, let's do something with movement. So in this next exercise, we're gonna just use movement as a starting point and let then the words emerge. The way I like to think of it is that if it's easier, we close our eyes first, scan the body, return to the breath, then open our eyes and just see where we're drawn to on our body in relation with the environment. So the movement comes in first. We're trying not to think of the movement. We're trying not to predict the movement. We're aiming for the body to lead. So in this way, we're also observing the larger environment, observing parts of the body, and just seeing how that feels. So this is the moment for you to try the same, and just letting your body move. Of course, you only see the upper part of my body in this video, but I'm spending also time focusing on my feet, on my legs, and if I could, I would move further away. Luckily, you can do so. The movements might be minute or brash and expressive. You might find that there's a movement that you want to return to or that keeps repeating itself. Allow for it to repeat while it has the energy, and allow for it to find also natural completion. So now we can also consider bringing in words in this exploration. So real words, I would start by just throwing them in popcorn style as we keep the focus on the body. So this might sound something like okoren, mačka, svet, prizemljen, rdeč. One added layer of this exercise is that the words should really be disconnected in meaning. They shouldn't start with the same letter. They shouldn't fall in the same thematic basket. See how that feels. The brain will try to connect them, to make a story out of it straight away. See if you can stay with the movement and the separate words. Every word is a new beginning. Yes, in the same flow, but disconnected in meaning. An example of this can sound like skrinja, črn, upetost, iskra, zvedav. I will let you explore, create some sound for you. You can stay in this area of disconnected words, but maybe at some point you can allow then the words after a couple of minutes to naturally merge into sentences. Allow for a story to emerge. Allow for a thought to emerge before then returning to the disconnected words. And just observe how that transition feels for you. Again, this might not be enough time for a full exploration, but you can extend it after this video. Okay, off you go. And slowly bring your word exploration to a close. Our session today is really based on a different new understanding of words. This might be useful when you're just starting the process of writing, when you're looking for that first seed. It might be useful at the middle point where you're kind of in a corner and need to find a different way through the words. Or hopefully it's also something useful for the end when you already have a poem and you're thinking of how to present it. How does it feel and land in your body? So for that, I've chosen a poem But before that, I want to quickly say, why did I decide to speak in Slovene before in the previous exercises, even though you might not understand what I was saying? This was so that you would hopefully focus on the sound of the words, on the sound of the language, rather than the inherent meaning. This is something that you can definitely practice by listening to poems in language that you don't speak and just see how you're affected by the sound of it. And also for the languages that you do speak, see if you can move beyond the first representational meaning that is sent to us by our brain and focus on the vowels, on the consonants, on the sound, on the silences between the words, and if that changes your perception of the work. So on to the poem that I've chosen. It's Integrals or Integrali in Slovene by Srečko Kosvel, in a translation by Philip Bird, Katarina Jerin, and Nika Kocijančić-Pokorn. It's a constructivist poem with short, snappy sentences. I'm gonna read it first in a natural way so you can get a sense of it, and then we'll take it from there. Rotational evening. Trees by green water. Rotation of spirit. My spirit is red. I love my sorrow. I work from it. And more, even more from my consciousness pit. From my consciousness pit, so all's in vain then. Profiteers dance the cancan. I guess it already had a strong interpretation. But to really pull it back, the first thing that I would do with a material is to go over the edge of your comfort. This might mean creating a character or doing it in a funny voice that you would definitely not allow yourself to do on stage. And just see how that feels, what it might reveal about the work. In my case, this might be something like, rotational evening, trees by green water, or rotation of spirit, my spirit is red, or I love my sorrow. I work from it. Or and more, even more from my consciousness pit. Or from my consciousness pit, so all's in vain then. Or profiteers dance the can't. So the last one there was reading something in a time signature, in a tempo, possibly in a groove. So then what I would say is that we can deconstruct the poem and focus first only on the vowels and then only on the consonants. We can expand the vowels or parts of it that we're drawn to. We can even start singing them. We can even start veering away and then coming back to the poem. This might sound something like and so on. Again, the discomfort is gonna come. So the question is if we're okay with staying with it, finish the poem and then see what that brought. The other version with the consonants might be something like and as you could see there, we have sung, unsung consonants. It's not an exact science in this case. You can really bring them in and out, but we're just focusing on the percussive sound of the mostly consonants, and the other case, the open, flowy sound of the vowels. I would say that to give you just a little glimpse of that, I invite you to think of a poem that you know by heart, or a poem that you have in front of you, and just pick a section. I will create a little soundscape, and I invite you to read it first, briefly, maybe just a part of it, in a funny, unconventional voice. Then reading it focusing on the vowels, and then reading it focusing on the consonants. Okay, let's go. And even if you haven't completed your poem, returning to silence. So this was our last exploration for today. I hope you enjoyed the journey. I hope it felt like it's something that you can incorporate in your practice. My invitation is always to consider the sound that already exists in the environment in which you're creating in, and not to separate yourself from it, but also to invite sound, voice, singing, body into all parts of your practice. This might look like downloading a looper app for your phone, creating a little soundscape and then throwing words on top of it. This might look like playing a soundscape that inspires you, or this might look like actually entering and traveling to an environment which sounds interest you, and let the words emerge from there. Thank you for listening to the end of this video, and see you next time. Goodbye.